Coming up next on this edition of In the City, MTSU welcomes the first African American scholarship athletes back to campus. Also, a longtime Murfreesboro resident takes over the superintendent position at Patterson Park Community Center. Plus, the community comes together to make sure no child eats alone. And some important road projects are planned for the next few years to help traffic flow. We'll tell you all about those stories and more coming up right now on this edition of In the City. Welcome to another edition of In the City, your source for what's happening right here in the city of Murfreesboro. I'm Michael Linn White. At a special forum held on campus, the first African American scholarship athletes discussed what it was like to be a minority in the 1960s and how their time at MTSU impacted not only them, but the university as a whole. MTSU welcomes a special group back to campus, some for the first time in almost 50 years.
This is an opportunity for us to really recognize what we call the pioneers, the African American student athletes.
At a special forum in the Student Union, 8 African American athletes came together to reconnect and share stories about their experience on campus at a time in history when it was difficult for people of color.
My parents couldn't afford to send me to college. Coach Hayes offered me an athletic scholarship, and I took the opportunity, and little did I know what was all in store in coming down here in 1965.
Jerry Singleton, recruited by Coach Dean Hayes in 1965, who's still coaching today. Singleton says he didn't know at the time he was part of history, and he wouldn't change it for the world.
And looking back on all of that, I am truly appreciative of what MTSU gave me, what little I gave it, and I attribute my success for the tools that they gave me.
These guys and one woman enjoyed catching up and say it was just like old times, with one exception.
Oh my God, it's like 50 years has almost passed, and it's almost like it was 2 years ago. Except the campus.
Although the campus has grown, one thing stays the same. Everything they learned at MTSU all those years ago.
What Middle Tennessee taught me was a perseverance and being determined in making it in life.
One thing is clear, these former Blue Raiders' passion for their university and the legacy they left behind. Reporting for CityTV, Michael Linn White. A recent retirement of the superintendent position at Patterson Park Community Center opened a challenging opportunity for one city employee.
After being employed by the Murfreesboro Parks and Recreation Department for 32 years, Russell Slim Smith retired December 13, 2019, ending his career as the superintendent of Patterson Community Center. Soon after, another well-deserving parks employee was promoted to the superintendent position, and we wanted to get to know her better.
Well, my name is Janelle Jenkins, and I'm the superintendent here. I've been working here at Patterson Park Community Center for 10 years now. Born and raised right here in Murfreesboro, so I'm just a hometown girl. I'm a product of Murfreesboro City School System, so from there, Central Middle School, Riverdale High School. Then after I graduated from Riverdale, I attended Tennessee State University, where I majored in health, physical education, and recreation. And then from there, wanted to pursue more education and came back home to Middle Tennessee State University, and I received my master's in sport management. My career in Parks and Recreation started actually in Indianapolis, Indiana. I was actually up there for an internship while I was working on my master's at MTSU. At that time, I was looking to pursue a career in professional sports, and so I was an intern with the WNBA team, Indiana Fever. So after my internship, I was offered a position with Indy Parks and Rec as an athletic coordinator. So I, took the position. So I was there for about a year and a half. and got a little homesick, and I just felt that if Parks and Recreation was the career field that was for me, I would rather come back to Tennessee, come back home and give back in that way. I started off in Nashville, Metro Parks in Nashville. So that's where my leadership in Parks and Recreation really took off. I started off as a program coordinator there, and then from there was promoted to a facility coordinator. So with Metro Parks, I was there for 3 years, and then had the awesome opportunity to come back home to Murfreesboro, where I started off here at Patterson Park Community Center as a operations coordinator. I just felt like I really came at the right time with Murfreesboro Parks and Rec, so I just learned a lot from superintendents Tom Sage and also Russell Smith, and also from our director now, Nate Williams. Those leaders just really gave me the opportunity, really invested in me, in my growth. I just had that opportunity just to continue to build up my knowledge base and my skill base, and here we are 10 years later. It really hits home, really home for me. My heart is here, right here in this community, because if we just step right outside these doors and just go to our right, I grew up down the street on Castle Street. So for me, it's a love for the neighborhood, and just even more love for the community. I love working here at Patterson Park because I tell people this is the most diverse place in the city. When I talk about diversity, I'm not only talking about race and ethnicity, I'm talking about from age to likes and dislikes to multi-generations being here in the facility. I mean, it's just a great melting pot. And it just makes me even more proud to be here as our city continues to grow. I really feel like I stand on the shoulders of so many leaders that have had the position before me. I know I mentioned Tom and Russell, but not only that, a lot of our community and civic leaders here in the Patterson area or in our Murfreesboro community, I stand on their shoulders. I'm just very thankful, first of all, to have the opportunity to serve. So it's been great, hearing the congratulations and the encouraging words that I've been hearing from everyone. So it's just been great to have the community really embrace me, and I'm embracing them right back. So I'm definitely looking forward to a big and bright future here at Patterson Park Community Center.
Overall Creek Elementary students do their part to show kindness by taking part in the nationwide No One Eats Alone Day. For some children, the school cafeteria can be a lonely place. At Overall Creek Elementary, faculty, students, and members of the community help change that.
Sometimes the cafeteria can be a place where they get isolated if they're not very social. Maybe their friend group isn't able to sit by them that day. But today we want to bring awareness to being kind.
National No One Eats Alone Day is a nationwide program created by students to stop bullying before it starts and to show kindness to each other.
If they see one of their classmates or something sitting alone, that they'll, hey, the policeman went over and sat down with him, I think I will too.
The cafeteria, louder than usual, buzzes with excitement as Murfreesboro Fire and Police departments make their way around the room, even signing autographs for the students.
Walking in here and seeing some of these kids' faces when we walk in and just putting a smile on their face makes our day, makes it worth it.
This day is another way Murfreesboro City Schools focuses not only on academics, but also on the emotional and social needs of children.
At the end of the day, we're here for the academics, but before we can get to that, we need to make sure that we're supporting the whole child and their emotional needs are being met. And I think this day does that. It makes sure that every student knows that they're valued and that we love them. Overall
Creek's Beta Club sponsored this year's event, and schools in all 50 states take part in this special day. Reporting for CityTV, Michael Linn White. With the help of the federal and state government, the city of Murfreesboro lays out its plans for road projects in the next few years to help traffic flow.
The City of Murfreesboro's Public Works Executive Director updated the City Council with road projects that are either under construction or ones that are scheduled. These are Tennessee Department of Transportation projects, City of Murfreesboro projects, or a combination. Obviously, these project timelines and start dates are affected by weather, money, right-of-way acquisitions, and permitting. They are subject to change at any time.
This is our Braderville Pike project. If you guys will remember, this is a 2.1 mile widening from a 2-lane to a 3-lane road. Really important here with the sidewalks, bike lanes, and also transit shelters. About 306,000, 307,000 locally, with the lines portion of it coming from the federal and state. And then we're scheduled to start construction in 2022. Brinkley Road, very similar project. Rebuild that to a 3-lane section with curb gutter, sidewalk, and that will also have a multi-use path. If you'll remember, that serves most of the Blackman School area. We've had quite a bit of development along that roadway. That is funded entirely by local funds, but through the city CIP program, with construction set to start sometime in 2021. These are back-to-back projects. Cherry Lane Phase 2 and Cherry Lane Phase 3 will be the next one. This is the section that's funded locally. This is the first one that we kind of started there from the Siegel soccer fields out over to Sulphur Springs. As you can see, that's $16.8 million locally, with the construction to start 2021. And I'll skip on to Cherry Lane Phase 3. This is the one that does have federal money attached to it, a little over $7 million total. That will be a 5-lane road, includes an interchange at State Route 840. And again, we hope construction will start in 2021 for that project. The Gateway Boulevard extension is a new one. This will be a new 3-lane road from Robert Rose Drive to Gateway Boulevard. It is locally funded at a little less than $2.5 million. Scheduled to start construction for 2022 on it. Jones Boulevard, this will be between West Clark and Medical Center Parkway. Of course, we'll be improving that to a 3-lane curb and gutter section with a multi-use path and sidewalk. That project's locally funded, and we hope to start construction on it a little bit later this year. New Salem Phase 1. This is the section of New Salem between I-24 and Old Fort Parkway. It's about 1.35 miles, widening that to a 5-lane section. As you can see, the state is picking up most of the funding for that, and then the construction is scheduled to start in that 2021. Phase 2 is the project that's under construction now. There from I-24 back to Cason Lane, typical section, 5-lane typical section with sidewalks, scheduled to be completed by the end of the year. Phase 3 will start after Phase 1 is complete, and that'll go from Cason Lane on out to Veterans Parkway. About 2.5 miles, $23 million, and again, the state is picking up all of the funding for it. Rucker Lane, we're getting ready to it's advertised for construction right now. It's rebuilding Rucker Lane from State Route 96 to Veterans Parkway to a 3-lane section with curb and gutter and sidewalks, about 2.4 miles. That's all locally funded. We're excited to get started on this project. It's been a long time coming, and it's probably one of the more requests we get from residents. Rutherford Boulevard extension, basically to extend Rutherford Boulevard as a new 3-lane road with a bridge over I-24 over to Warrior Drive. If you'll remember, one of the big problems that we're having is the congestion at our interchanges. And so what we're trying to do here is just a straight bridge over the interstate, help some of the residential areas trying to gravitate towards downtown or towards our industrial areas. That project is currently locally funded at $23.5 million, with construction scheduled to start in 2023. Rutherford Boulevard signal improvements. This is a new project for us. It's the implementation of our adaptive signal control technology. It's basically, for lack of a better term, it's a smart signal system that learns as traffic progresses. We're in final plans with that, with construction to start later this year. Thompson Lane widening. This project, along with Cherry Lane and probably our New Salem, is probably our three biggest, most important projects we've got going on now. These are really our volume meters. It's to widen to 5 lanes, including a sidewalk and multi-use path from Northwest Broad to Memorial. It's a little over 4 miles in length. You can see the state's picking up most of the cost on that, with construction starting in 2023. Warrior Drive extension. It's a new project. This is some of the new development. We're working with the SIA grant funding from TDOT. It also includes some improvements there at the intersection of Warrior and New Salem as well. Hope to start construction a little bit later this year. And just the last slide there, just to kind of give you a overview of our funding sources. As you can see, about 58% of our projects are currently being funded through the state or federal means. Now, if it's federally funded, that could be the part of that's money that's earmarked for City of Murfreesboro, and we're just choosing to use that federal money towards those projects. With about, about 42% of it being funded locally. And we're just kind of giving you a chart there on to the right just to see when the projects are scheduled to roll out for construction.
With the amount of rain this area has seen over the past month, keeping storm drains clear of debris so water can drain off the street is a very important job to combat flooding.
I've got 8 crews out running what we call maintenance maps. There's 8 of them, so everybody's got their own map to run. And what they're primarily doing is making sure our storm drains are uncovered of any debris, leaves, sticks, trash, so that the water on the street can come off the street and make the roads passable. They also check for any signs that are broken, leaning, or street markers, stop signs, anything of that sort. They also look out for the potholes that are in the streets, and they log all these problems and report them, and then usually another crew will come down and fix those problems. But their primary goal is to make sure the water comes off the road. There's problem areas that we have to go straight to when we start doing these types of things. Or else, we could have a lot of water, and sometimes it'll get as far as people's property lines and even to their doorstep if we don't do what we're supposed to be doing. Every street, every drain, I'd like to say we don't leave one stone unturned in that aspect. If it's in your yard, you should not rake it out into the street. We do have leaf trucks that go around during the season of leaf season. Just make sure those piles do not obstruct the water flow in the right-of-way near the drains. I would rather them not get in the street themselves. As you can see, we wear, the proper attire to be seen on the street, and I really wouldn't want, somebody that is not properly equipped to go in the street to uncover these drains. If somebody sees something, a resident sees something in their neighborhood or on their street that doesn't look right or that we can help them with, don't hesitate to call us, and we'll dispatch a crew out to them as soon as we possibly can. It's 615-893-4380.
Murfreesboro City employees test out a new, exciting program that will soon be offered to the public.
I want number 2 to say yes and.
Improv is a theatrical technique used by actors and comedians, but did you know it can also help your communication skills at home and at work?
A lot of people think of improv as like comedy or being funny and joke telling, and really this isn't what it is. I do introduce people to the basic concepts of improv and how it can be used for communication in the real world, in the business world.
Murfreesboro Parks and Rec employees test out a new class that will soon be offered to the public, led by Deb Hunter. She takes the class through various exercises that actors might use, but shows you how to translate them to the real world.
Everything we do is improv, every conversation you have. Even meetings that you go to where there's an agenda, there's improv.
For just $10, you can get a taste of what other places charge hundreds for. Hunter says these skills have dramatically improved not only her communication, but her way of thinking as well.
I have a theater background, and as I grew up and learning in the theater, I realized so much of what I was learning and doing correlated to what I was doing in my professional life. And I think that other people will find that as well.
For more information about this and the many other exciting programs offered by Parks and Rec, check out their website at www.murfreesboroparks.com. Reporting for CityTV, Michael Linn White. It's always a special time for students and faculty when they can invite parents and guardians into the school to show off some of the work going on in the classrooms.
Bradley Elementary hosted their book fair and STEAM night, a night where the school invites parents and guardians in to see the STEAM activities teachers and students have prepared.
Tonight is our first STEAM night. It's also our book fair night. This entire week is book fair week. But then also when you come out into the hallways, that's where we have a lot of our STEAM activities. Every grade level has come up with an activity centered around the units they're working on in class. We spend a lot of time planning. We also have a STEAM team who help support our teachers, and they have been huge in just helping to support our teachers in having ideas, making those ideas come to life, tying those ideas into standards, and just making sure it all fits together.
And our STEAM team is made up of 6 to 7 different teachers in our building that are helping support our teachers and help support the STEAM initiative here at Bradley. So we just really wanted to make it a fun night for our families and our kids to come in and just do fun STEAM activities and just to show off their creativity and their collaboration.
STEAM stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, Arts, and Mathematics. It's an educational approach to learning to encourage student inquiry, dialogue, and critical thinking. Murfreesboro City Schools has been implementing STEAM in the classrooms for years and believe in its successes.
Well, I'd say it's definitely it's more a mindset first off than anything else, and that mindset is just being very intentional about tying standards to real life application. So our students are definitely problem solving, and I think that's kind of what STEAM is all about. It's all about tying in our standards to real world application, real life issues, real life problems that exist, and figuring out ways to solve them, teaching our students to innovate, to problem solve, and to think and to function in a world where we have real situations that adults are dealing with. And I think when you go around tonight, you'll definitely be able to see the hands-on aspect to all of this. When I was growing up, everyone wanted to be a basketball player, football. All the guys wanted to, we want to be actors, actresses, rappers, musicians. We all wanted to do those fields. But what I love about STEAM and what I love about bringing in those members of our community who can come in and partner with our students is it exposes them to careers that they may not even known existed. Even I may not have known some of the different opportunities that exist and that tie what our students are learning into just real life. I think it's all about our teachers and our students. They work really hard, and there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. When we can have people come in and see the fruits of our labor, it's a proud moment for all of us.
To celebrate Black History Month and to honor some of the unsung heroes here in Murfreesboro, MTSU hosted its 24th annual Unity Luncheon, where 6 honorees were acknowledged for their contribution to our city. The event started with a musical performance by vocalist Ashley Kimbrough from MTSU's School of Music. Kimbrough has performed at esteemed venues such as the Kennedy Center Honors, presidential inauguration ceremonies of President Bill Clinton, and for King Juan Carlos at the opening of the Guggenheim Museum in Bilbao, Spain. The keynote speaker for the luncheon was Pastor James McCarroll from First Baptist Church in Murfreesboro. Pastor McCarroll's message was about the stages it takes to move from simple community to a space of practicing community. Following the message, 6 honorees were recognized with their awards for their selfless service to this community. Since its inception, the Unity Luncheon has recognized 121 individuals in this community. MTSU President Sidney McPhee presented the recipients with this very deserving award. The Rutherford County Traffic Safety Task Force, made up of 10 agencies throughout Rutherford County, bring their resources together to help save lives. In 2018, there were 25,000 distracted-related crashes in Tennessee. This public service announcement was produced to highlight that problem.
Hey, guess what? You got a text from you-know-who. What'd he say? Oh man, you have to see this on Instagram. It's insane. Hey, you were tagged in a photo on Facebook, and it's got a bunch of likes. You should see it. Hey, you're getting a call. You need to get this. Yo, answer me.
St. Clair Street Senior Center patrons and their caregivers are encouraged to attend this informative luncheon.
You're invited.
Division leaders from Murfreesboro Water Resources Department are visiting St. Clair Street Senior Center Wednesday, March 18th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m.
You're invited.
This is a listen and learn session to better understand the customer experiences and needs as it relates to their water, wastewater, customer service, anything that's on your mind dealing with the Murfreesboro Water Resources Department.
You're invited.
Seniors, caregivers are welcome to attend. Registration will be at St. Clair Street Senior Center and begins March 1st.
You're invited.
And did we mention lunch is provided? So mark your calendars for the Murfreesboro Water Resources Department's Listen and Learn session Wednesday, March 18th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at St. Clair Street Senior Center.
You're invited.
Murfreesboro Solid Waste Department employee Barney Dale has been named the most recent STARS Award recipient. Dale was honored by Mayor Shane McFarland at a recent City Council meeting.
Good evening, Mayor and Council members. As you know, STARS stands for Succeeding Through Attitudes Reflecting Service Excellence. This evening, we recognize Barney Dale, who works as a driver in the Solid Waste Department. On Thursday, December 5th, Barney, who was on duty, stopped to help a gentleman who had fallen and needed assistance. His wife was not able to help, but she did send a thank you card that reads, "Thank you so much for your assistance when my husband fell last Thursday. I could never have picked him up after he fell without your help. Thank you for being kind and considerate. You are appreciated." Joy Smith, Director of Solid Waste Department, said Barney is a conscientious city employee who cares about doing the right thing and helping people. Thank you, Barney, for going above and beyond for our customers.
I think out of any of our departments, our solid waste drivers see our residents on a routine basis every week. And so if you're watching out there and you don't know who your driver is, walk up and as they're at your house and just tell them thank you for what they do. They do a great job.
MTSU renamed the arena inside Murphy Center to honor former head coach and director of athletics, Jimmy Earl. The new name is Monty Hale Jimmy Earl Arena. Athletic Director Chris Massaro stated, "Adding Jimmy Earl's name to Monty Hale Arena is a fitting tribute to one of Middle Tennessee's most well-known coaches and administrators. Forming this combination between Coach Earl and Monty Hale in the arena makes sense due to the great professional and personal relationship they shared as coach and play-by-play man." Monty Hale's son and Murfreesboro Post sports editor Monty Hale Jr. stated, "Coach Earl and my father were best of friends, but they were also like brothers as neither had one. I know my late father would be honored to share this moment with Coach Earl, and I think it's only fitting that the arena is named in honor of both." Well, that's it for this edition of In the City. As always, for more information about the City of Murfreesboro or any of the stories you've seen here, you can always visit our website at www.murfreesborotn.gov. And if you want to see any of the stories that you've seen today or catch up on some of the latest city news, you can always visit the City of Murfreesboro's YouTube channel. I'm Michael Linn White, and until next time, we look forward to seeing you in the city.